Alright, let's talk Megabonk characters. In total, there are 21 of them, and yeah, most are locked when you first jump into the game. Every character starts with a different weapon and a unique passive that boosts stats as you level up or gives special bonuses, so your early choices actually matter a lot. Now, even though Megabonk gets frequent balance updates, we all know the truth. Some characters just feel way stronger than others, especially once the run starts ramping up. Technically, you can finish a run with any character thanks to the game's RNG eventually handing you a broken build. But let's be real, not all characters struggle the same. The best Megabonk characters make Tier 3 clears, Stage 3 progress, and final boss fights way more manageable, while others feel like you're playing on hard mode for no reason. In this video, we're ranking all 21 characters based on their scaling potential, starting kits, and overall power, so by the end, you'll know exactly who's worth picking and who might need a little extra luck to shine. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking characters in Megabonk. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Amog, Birdo, Fox, Ninja, Noel, Ogre, Sir Chadwell, Spaceman, and Roberto. Somewhere between "this is totally playable" and "why am I working so hard for this run?" we land in C tier territory, and honestly, this tier has personality. These are not disaster characters, but they definitely make you earn your wins. If Megabonk were a party, these guys would be the ones telling funny stories while accidentally setting the kitchen on fire. Let's start with Amog, the mystery man with the suspiciously toxic vibe. His poison flask is actually pretty satisfying early on, splashing area damage and spreading poison everywhere like he is mad at the floor. His passive Plague makes poisoned enemies explode and spread even more poison, which sounds amazing on paper. The problem is that poison scaling takes time, and if your run does not cooperate with good items, Amog can feel like he is waiting for enemies to politely die instead of actually killing them. Birdo is next, and yes, the glasses really are for your safety. The tornado weapon pushes enemies away, which sounds defensive, but in practice it often just delays the problem instead of solving it. Floating by holding jump is a cool trick though, especially when combined with items that reward being airborne. If you find the scarf item, Birdo suddenly wakes up and chooses violence, but until then, he is kind of just floating around hoping for synergy. Then we have Fox, who lives fast and relies heavily on luck, literally. The fire staff is solid, shooting fireballs that explode on impact, so the early game is not too painful. His passive ability gives 1% luck per level, spelled out fully, and while that sounds exciting, it is also very slow. Fox runs often feel like a long-term investment plan, and sometimes you get rich, but sometimes the market crashes and you die to a crab. Ninja is stylish, fast, and absolutely a tax nightmare. The katana targeting the closest enemy feels great when everything lines up, but it can betray you when enemies swarm from weird angles. Shadow Step lets you execute enemies after evading them and also increases evasion slightly each level, which is cool but inconsistent. When Ninja pops off, he feels incredible. When he does not, you spend a lot of time rolling around hoping the game respects your skill. Noel exists because the community demanded it, and honestly, it shows in the best way. Frostwalker freezes and damages enemies around you, which makes her early survival pretty comfy. Her passive gives 1% duration per level, fully spelled out, which is very niche. If you build around effects that last longer, she can work, but if you do not, you are basically carrying extra freezer space with no groceries inside. Ogre is big, strong, and not here to think deeply. The axe throws spinning blades that deal area damage, which is straightforward and effective enough. His passive gives 1% damage per level, written properly, and while that is never bad, it is also painfully boring. Ogre does not do anything wrong, but he also does not do anything exciting, which somehow makes him harder to love. Now let's talk about Sir Chadwell, who might have the best lore to power imbalance in the game. The corrupted sword hits both directions and deals more damage at low health, which encourages extremely questionable life choices. His passive increases difficulty by 1% per level. Yes, actual difficulty, making the game harder as you level up. You are basically paying rent to suffer, and while that can be fun for challenge runs, it is not exactly friendly. Spaceman is a walking physics experiment with legal issues across the galaxy. The black hole weapon is great for repositioning enemies, grouping them up, and feeling smart. Unfortunately, feeling smart does not always mean doing damage. His passive increases experience points gained by 1.5% per level, fully spelled out, which helps long-term scaling, but if damage does not show up soon, you just become very educated while dying faster. Then there is Roberto, who insists he is floating, and honestly, we are still checking. The scythe slashes in a circle and charges stronger attacks when elite enemies die, which feels great mechanically. His passive gives free chests over time, which is genuinely awesome, and the slight floating helps avoid early hits. The issue is that his overall stats do not lean hard into anything, so he feels like a jack of all trades who forgot to pick a major. The common theme with C tier characters is not weakness, but effort. You need the right items, the right upgrades, and sometimes the right mood to make them shine. They ask more from you than higher tier characters, and not every player wants that on a casual run. That said, these characters are not mistakes. Many of them are great for specific challenges, unlocked conditions, or just shaking things up when the top tiers start to feel boring. They keep Megabonk interesting by reminding you that not every run needs to be smooth to be memorable. So if you pick someone from C tier and struggle a bit, that is kind of the point. These characters do not carry you to the final boss. They walk beside you, trip occasionally, and sometimes accidentally win anyway. And honestly, that is part of the charm. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Athena, Bush, Tony McZoom, and Vlad. This is the part of the tier list where runs stop feeling stressful and start feeling promising, like you are one lucky item away from completely breaking the game. B tier characters in Megabonk are strong, flexible, and dangerous in the right hands, but they still demand attention. You cannot just turn your brain off like with S tier picks, yet reaching stage 3 is usually very realistic if you play even halfway decently. Athena is basically a budget superhero who somehow still gets the job done. Her E just blocks incoming attacks and fires shockwaves back at enemies, which makes her feel tanky and aggressive at the same time. Her passive ability rewards risky play by increasing damage when her health is low, while also giving her thorns every level, meaning enemies hurt themselves by hitting her. Athena shines when you lean into the danger and trust your shield, but misjudge one hit and the run can spiral fast. Then there is Bush, who is definitely just a bush and absolutely not suspicious at all. The sniper rifle is one of the most skill-based starting weapons in Megabonk, letting you manually aim piercing shots for massive value if your aim is good. His passive marks random enemies and slowly increases critical damage over time, which sounds simple but scales surprisingly well. Bush feels incredible when you are locked in and miserable when you miss shots, making him a fan favorite for players who like control and precision. Tony McZoom brings pure movement energy into the mix, and the hoverboard lifestyle clearly suits him. His wireless dagger throws smart blades that seek out enemies, giving him solid damage without perfect positioning. His passive charges an electric attack as you move around and also increases pickup range every level, which encourages non-stop motion. Tony feels amazing on fast, aggressive builds, but if you slow down too much, you lose a big part of what makes him special. And then we have Vlad, the nicest vampire you will ever meet, probably waving at you in the produce aisle. His blood magic attacks enemies while giving him a chance to permanently increase maximum health on kills, which already makes him scale naturally. His passive grants lifesteal every level, turning him into a sustained monster if the run goes well. Vlad can absolutely reach the final boss and feel unstoppable, but he needs good damage scaling early, so his healing actually matters. The big difference between B tier and the higher tiers is consistency. These characters can become absurdly strong, but they rely more on synergy, positioning, and a bit of luck. When everything clicks, they feel like S tier. When it does not, you still have a fighting chance, just with more effort and decision making involved. So if you like characters that reward smart play and creative builds, B tier is where Megabonk really opens up. These picks do not carry you automatically, but they give you the tools to build something powerful. And honestly, winning with a B tier character just feels a little more satisfying. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, CL4, Enk, Megachad, Monkey, and Sir Ufi. There is a very specific kind of confidence that comes with picking an A tier character in Megabonk. You know the run is going to be good, you know stage 3 is very reachable, but you also know the game can still punish you if you get lazy. These characters do not hold your hand like S tier picks, yet they reward smart decisions so consistently that they often feel one upgrade away from total domination. CL4, NK is all about numbers going up, even if no one knows how to say his name out loud. The revolver fires multiple bullets and scales beautifully with critical hits, which makes his entire kit feel like a math problem you actually enjoy solving. His passive gives 1% critical chance per level, spelled out properly, and once that starts stacking, enemies just melt. If you find the right weapons to pair with the revolver, CL4 Shenkai can casually turn the screen into a fireworks show. Then there is Megachad, who proves that raw presence is a stat. His aura constantly damages enemies around him, which makes close-range builds incredibly effective. His passive ability can completely stop incoming damage, stun enemies, and reduce its own cooldown every level, making him much safer than he first appears. He is slow, yes, but when you lean into weapons like Frostwalker and Firewalker, enemies have to walk into their own destruction. Monkey is, in fact, a monkey, and somehow that is all the explanation needed. The Bananarang is one of the best starting weapons in Megabonk, throwing bananas that return and hit enemies twice if positioned well. His passive lets him climb walls and also increases maximum health every level, which gives him insane survival during swarm-heavy stages. Being able to ignore ground pressure entirely changes how you approach fights. What makes Monka special is control. While other characters panic when surrounded, Monkey just climbs, waits, and throws bananas from safety. That wall mobility turns chaos into opportunity, especially when the screen fills with enemies and escape routes disappear. Sir Ufi is the definition of slow and steady, except the steady part eventually becomes unkillable. His sword slashes through multiple enemies and scales well with upgrades, but the early game can feel rough if damage is lacking. His passive grants more armor every level, and once you invest into thorns and the defense, enemies basically defeat themselves by attacking him. The risk with Sir Ufi is momentum. If the early game goes poorly, his tank fantasy never fully comes online. But if you survive long enough to stack armor and upgrade the sword, he transforms into a walking fortress that refuses to die. A tier characters shine because they reward commitment. You cannot half build these kits and expect magic, but when you lean fully into their strengths, they feel incredibly reliable. Each one has a clear identity, a clear game plan, and just enough weakness to keep you honest. In Megabonk, A tier is where mastery starts to matter. These characters will not carry bad decisions, but they absolutely elevate good ones, and when an A tier run clicks, it feels almost illegal how strong you suddenly become. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Calcium, Bandit, Dicehead, and Robinette. There is a moment in every truly broken Megabonk run where the screen stops feeling dangerous and starts feeling too small, and that moment usually begins with an S tier character. These picks do not just survive the game, they bend it, scale out of control, and turn stage 3 into a playground. They all share one thing in common: the longer the run goes, the more unfair they become. Calcium is pure chaos in motion, an undead trick machine that rewards speed like no other character. His bone weapon bounces between enemies, already strong on its own, but his passive is where things get ridiculous. As his movement speed builds up over time, his damage increases alongside it, creating a feedback loop that snowballs hard. As long as you avoid getting hit and losing half your speed, Calcium turns fast movement into raw destruction. Then there is Bandit, the definition of clean efficiency. The Executioner pierces enemies and has a chance to instantly execute them, and that chance starts showing up constantly once attack speed increases. His passive grants 1% attack speed per level, fully spelled out, and when paired with items like Joe's dagger, executions start chaining in a way that feels illegal. Bandit does not need flashy tricks, he just deletes enemies faster than they can exist. Dicehead is what happens when gambling somehow pays off consistently. His dice weapon deals random damage, but every time you roll a 6, your critical chance permanently increases, which adds up faster than you would expect. His passive upgrades a random stat every level, and while that sounds risky, it becomes absurd when you stack experience points gain early. Dicehead runs often start weird and end with numbers so high you stop checking them. What makes Dicehead truly S tier is inevitability. Even bad luck tends to even out over time, and once enough levels stack up, he becomes a stat monster that feels unstoppable. The launch version may have been wilder, but even now, he scales into something terrifying. Robinette plays a different game entirely, and she plays it better than anyone else. Her bow pierces through waves cleanly, making early stages smooth and controlled. Her passive increases gold gain every level and also converts total gold into extra damage, meaning every coin directly fuels destruction. By stage 3, with massive piles of gold in your inventory, her damage output reaches absurd levels. Robinette does not rush power, she invests in it. The longer the run lasts, the more her damage explodes, turning economy into a weapon. Few characters reward patience as brutally as she does. S-tier characters dominate because they scale without mercy. They do not rely on one lucky item or a perfect build. They amplify everything the game gives them. In Megabonk, these characters are not just strong picks, they are win conditions waiting to happen. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.